Hello, welcome back to the Cash PT Lunch Hour podcast. Today, my special guest is Ian Kornbluth. Ian is the founder and president of ActiveCore, and Ian's a physical therapist, and he owns a really big cash practice. But he's also someone who I've known for years, looked up to, and looked to for trends in the industry and what he's doing. And I'm sure Ian will share a big knowledge of what he's doing, but he's involved in ActiveCore and Redcord. And my brother has been treated at one of his clinics before. So Ian, welcome to the podcast. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's been a few years since we saw each other, I think at PPS, but a month ago we had a conversation and Zoom decided to kill the recording. So we're back, and hopefully today we get a little deeper. And I'm not trying to remember my questions, but hopefully we'll get into this conversation and get out to everyone but what we both want them to know, so that our profession can change and be better. So thank you for being here again. Sure. Can you just tell us a little bit about, I want to start with, how'd you even decide to become a physical therapist in the first place? Did you was there like a story that you had that drew you to PT, or, was it just like happenstance that you just got into the profession?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that my story is like most others. I think most physical therapists kind of knew that they wanted to become a physical therapist early on in life. Maybe they excelled in science and wanted to be a doctor, help people, and decided to pursue physical therapy, or they sustained a sports injury and were inspired by a physical therapist that got them back, to athletics. That's not my story. I didn't figure this out until halfway through college. I was pursuing a degree in mechanical engineering, and that's kind of how my mind thinks. I'm very much kind of that engineer. And I just sort of woke up one morning, junior year or early on in junior year in college, and I said, you know what, I want to see what else there's out there for me. I guess that's what college is for, kind of like new experiences, test things out. And I was speaking to a friend of mine who was pursuing physical therapy. I had no idea what it even was, but he explained a little bit about it, that you work, with people who maybe suffered something in their life, like an amputation or a stroke or a sports injury or something, and you help them get back to life. And I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting, and just try something different. And maybe there's a way I can pull in some of the math and engineering that I learned and, apply it over here to the body. Mm-hmm. And I took some of the anatomy physiology courses and loved it. And what really, I think, drove me, Aaron, to become, or to not give up and really pursue this profession, was that a guidance counselor in the College of Sciences where I was at, was really trying to deter me from going down this path. He was like, no one just wakes up one day and says, I want to be a physical therapist. There's so much you have to do academically, and all the time you have to put into volunteering and all that stuff. So that kind of really drove me. The challenge of just getting into physical therapy school, to be honest, was probably the most exciting part for me. Was that, I was challenged to do something that others were saying that I couldn't do. And that took me all the way to graduating one of the top in my class, to get into physical therapy school, and then becoming a physical therapist. Yeah. Again, was a great challenge. And then, of course, we're faced with challenges every day as PTs, with our clients and what they're going through in life. So it's like one challenge after the next. And that has really given me great inspiration to keep at it.
That's awesome. Have there been other times when people have told you, don't do that, or that's a bad idea, you shouldn't do it, and you decide to do it anyways? Or is this like first time?
That was one of the first times that somebody had told me that I really can't do something.
Yeah.
But going from being a staff therapist um, within like one of the largest healthcare rehabilitation healthcare systems in the world at the time, back 2000, early 2000s, to going out on my own into a small private practice, that was another time that I was challenged because I was pretty young. I was only 5 years out of PT school at that point when I decided I really wanted to just do my own thing. And a lot of my peers were like, that seems kind of early to go into your own business. Back then, I was definitely setting a trend. And then when I decided that I couldn't run a sustainable model taking insurance, that was even more kind of in my face, like other practitioners and business owners saying, what are you doing? Like, you can't drop out of the insurance networks because that's going so far against the grain of what everyone else was doing at the time. And I said, watch me, like I'll figure this out. And that's what I did. I spent the next probably 5 years really trying to just, get a following of people that valued me at over $100 an hour, which back then was good money.
Right. No, that's awesome. So, like I've also had the same thing, like where it's like people are like, you can't do this. So I'm like, no, watch me do it. Like it motivates me, Do you feel the same thing? Is it like, or you're like, do you see the, like what is it about that like kept you going or pushed you?
Well, again, it's that feeling of risk. I'm a risk taker. I like that feeling. I'm not one to go to the casinos because I feel like every day I'm pushing myself. I'm pushing the people around me, people that are inspired by me to be better at what they do. I'm very much someone who likes to plan out things and say, what can I become? What can the business become? What can the community become with my help? So I'm always like pushing that and pushing myself and and my teammates to don't give up on whatever like possibility that we're striving for. Like, I'm here to support you, and these are the challenges that I face, and I got through it, and keep on going.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What was the big what was your big motivator for starting your own clinic? So you're 5 years out of school, maybe 4.5. Like, what was happening to you when you were like, I got to do my own thing?
Like most cash PTs today, it's about volume and having time to listen to the clients. I felt like, they would, we do like an initial evaluation or something. I get plenty of time that visit to ask them questions, to listen, to really get to know them. And then they were just kind of thrown into the mix with subsequent visits where I had very little time to fully grasp what they're going through in life and to really be able to sort of attack their condition in many different ways coming, I really wanted that full 360-degree approach to care. And that was really tough to do in a high volume environment. So I'm like, I got to spend more time with each person individually. Insurance reimbursement rates did not allow me to do that in the environment I was working in. And then even when I started out my own practice, I initially did take insurance, and that I understood why that corporation that I had worked for 5 years was treating in volume. It made sense. That's how you made money. But I didn't feel like that was why I became a physical therapist in the first place. I really felt it was about making a difference for each person individually. And you need that time to listen and engage and relate and make a difference in their lives.
Yeah. I got all these questions that popped through my head. I try to figure out which one's the most important one that I can extract the most value. But like before I want to go further down the road, but before I get there, we're in network insurance, traditional insurance. Where's the value? Like I think I know where the value is, and I think that I know where the value is, but the cynical part of me says, well, some people just need to get up off the couch. Where is it that insurance-based traditional clinics, like there's different models, different payments, every region, every city. So I can't make a very broad stroke, but where's the benefit in that? And then, so where do we extract the value for that and for patients? And then what needs to change, or what are like in-network clinics, like where are they missing something?
I mean, I haven't run the in-network sort of model or been a part of that in so many years. It's now, I didn't disclose that to you. I didn't really want to age myself here, but
well, I'm 47, so
but I, 2005, I went cash.
Yeah.
So we're now almost 2021, so 16 years later.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to fix the in-network environment or what they can do to fix that model. I gave it up like I'm sure most people on the line here, and just started pursuing a different path and saying, you know what, I'll just create my own way of doing something and blazing my own trail here. And that's what I did. We did, for a short period, run an out-of-network clinic within an in-network clinic, thinking that by being right there with some of the in-network providers, it would give them an opportunity to see what we do on the out-of-network side, see how much time we get to spend with each person individually, and see that side of the industry working like box in a box, like an out-of-network clinic within an in-network clinic, kind of like in the corner or within a room. And we did try that for over a year, but it did not work. As great as it was in theory, only one location really came out ahead. And that's a location that we ended up purchasing or acquiring eventually. We acquired the whole facility, eventually became all ActiveCore, our out-of-network model, which was kind of interesting. And I think it was only because one of my teammates, Dr. Ed Forsman, a great DPT in Denver, didn't give up on the team. So he came from the in-network side, so he related to them. He worked with this, with this business and these teammates for a long time. And so they trusted him, and he didn't give up on the out-of-network ActiveCore model. So he was doing like a mini clinic within there. And then eventually another therapist came over to ActiveCore, and then another one. And eventually we took over the whole place and bought out the whole thing, and it all became ActiveCore. And that's our main facility in Denver, one of our training centers in Colorado. And Ed is really, helping to lead the charge there, along with Amanda Holmes and a couple of other great DPTs. But aside from that one location, the others that we tried, like a handful of others, just didn't work out. It was almost like the in-network side couldn't get out of their own way. Like they saw that a change needed to happen, maybe to value the time with the person, or have that person value them at a certain cash amount. They saw that it worked, that it could work, but it takes work. It takes a lot of time and a lot of discipline to make a change go from in-network to out-of-network. And so that sort of like 1 out of maybe 5 or 6 was a realistic ratio for what could you know, convert an in-network center over to out-of-network. Like 1 in every 5 could probably do what we did. Right. I think that's a realistic ratio.
So right now you've got what, 5 locations? Like you New Jersey, Denver, Colorado, Pennsylvania, and you live in Arizona, right?
Yeah, we actually now have 8 locations there. And so just since COVID, in the past 6, 7, 8 months, we have opened up 4 additional locations during a pandemic, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're not big. So we actually downsized one of our facilities, actually the one in Denver. We downsized, made it less than half the size. So that's like our main training center out there. And then we opened up, with the help of one of my teammates, Ashley Lytle, physical therapist out there. She opened up 2 satellite locations in Denver just during the pandemic, which a satellite location is like within, like, she's practicing within a chiropractic office in one case, and in the other within a Pilates studio. And so she has a room within each of those facilities, and she does a lot of pelvic health, and she combines it with the Redcord system and does some orthopedic manual therapy as well. And it's really a great model, and she's really taking off. And then we opened up a satellite location in Pennsylvania, which is an offshoot of our Princeton, New Jersey training center. And that satellite location was started up by a teammate, Dr. Brian Caristia, who had been with us in Princeton for many years. So he opened up that satellite location, which has really been taking off. And then we have another satellite up in like central, almost North Jersey, with a teammate, Jason. And then down in Atlanta, we have a training center, and then a teammate, Dr. Elizabeth Dalrymple, who is an amazing PT. She even works with like some movie stars and some high performing athletes. She opened up a satellite office within a Pilates studio about a half an hour, 40 minutes away from our training center. So these like little satellites were popping up. And like I mentioned, we just opened up for our 4th satellite since the pandemic. And so in total, we now have 8 locations, which is awesome.
That's awesome. That's great. And so when they're out of network, like you're not contracted with insurance, right? And so
that's correct. We're out of network.
Do you guys bill? Like, do you guys bill on behalf of patients, or they pay you and you give like a super bill? Is there like a distinction of how you guys define it?
Yeah, as far back as 2005, when I originally went out of network, we've been running kind of that same billing model. And that is, people pay us in full at the time of service, our rates, and then we submit the claim on behalf of our clients to the insurance company, and they get reimbursed directly from the insurance company, typically within like 4 to 6 weeks after the service has been rendered.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And are you guys using like a billing service to do that kind of process, or
we have a billing software, but we and we're in the process of integrating with a new CRM EMR software, PT Everywhere. Yeah. But we do everything ourselves. Like, we use the software to run the model, but we have our own in-house billing team. We have 3 billers, Diane and Amanda and Bree, and they're absolutely amazing. So they provide like the whole concierge experience. So not only do they do some of the billing, they help with like discovery calls, intakes, insurance verification, claim submissions, follow-up, insurance authorization. They do so much for us. And a lot of it is done off-site. Actually, only one of those 3 is even on-site, like at one of our facilities. The other 2 are at home, and they're just like on their computers and phones and connecting with the providers and everyone. It's really a great system, I think, that we put in place.
That's awesome. And are they spending Well, just to put context in, you got 3 of them working for you. Are they doing all billing? And for how many like therapists are they billing for patient visits? Are we, talking about? So to put context for scale, et cetera.
Sure. So I think we have like a dozen providers or maybe 15 providers. We actually don't have that many providers as you would think. Pre-COVID, we had almost twice as many, but a lot of them actually went out on their own, into their own cash business, which is great because it shows that we teach our providers not only how to be great clinicians and to engage with their clients, but also how to become practice owners and entrepreneurs. And because some of them were leaving us, we created an affiliate model now. I wish we had all that in place prior to them leaving, but we now have a great affiliate model that some of our providers can actually go and open up their own business under the ActiveCore name umbrella, our support system, and have access to some of those billers, for instance, or other people to help with marketing and things that can help support their business. But in context, let's say we have 15 providers, give or take. I honestly don't remember the exact number. 15 providers, and then each of them are averaging like 25 to 30, cash visits a week. Some of them are way up there at over 40. Actually, I think one's now even topping over 50 one-on-one treatments a week. And then some are a little newer since COVID. And so they may be still in the 20s, but on average, like 25 to 30 cash visits per week times 15 therapists. So each biller has pretty much like 5 providers. But we hope to actually get that up to maybe each biller having is responsible for maybe even up to 10 providers now with our new technology rolling out PT everywhere and the great support that we've had from them. We're almost fully rolled out with them, but that's really streamlining everything that we do. So we think each biller could probably take on twice as many providers.
Right. Wow. Right on. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And with that, with that model, do you get people saying, oh, but you don't take my insurance, or, oh, it's expensive, I got to go somewhere else? Or is this one of the ways that you're able to resolve that problem? Or was this just kind of a infrastructure you had when you were in network that you just carried over to being out of network?
Well, yeah, I mean, I always kind of wondered why, when you go in network as a patient, they handle everything for you, right? They do the insurance authorizations, they'll do these claim submissions, they'll write an appeal letter, like they'll go way out of their way to make sure that the insurance company picks up, the service. And I know they're doing it because that's how they get paid, right? They're getting paid from the copay plus what the insurance company pays the provider. I get that. But when you look at it from a client standpoint, why are they getting taken care of like this concierge billing service when they go in network? But then they go and pay more, they go cash, they're paying more to the provider that's out of network. And the provider's like, here's a super bill, go try to navigate the complex insurance system, good luck. I think most clients probably just tear it up or don't even care about it. Because they know it's kind of a waste of their time. Others may give it to, like, if they have like an office assistant or someone to submit on their behalf, but it's time, it's just the extra effort that the client has to then put in. I never thought that made sense. Now, keep in mind, I was probably one of the first PTs to go cash in 2005. Like there wasn't much of it, even of an internet. Like I couldn't ask Jeeves how to go cash as a PT back then. Like it wouldn't come up with anything, right? So I had to figure this out myself. And I asked my clients, again, it's taken the time to listen. And I'm like, do you think it's worth something if I submit the claim on your behalf and you get reimbursed directly? And they said, yeah. I'm like, well, how much is it worth? And they're like, well, maybe it's an extra $20, $30 for the session it's worth. I'm like, okay, How about I just charge you more and I'll do that service for you. And that way I can pay to have a biller on staff. And they're like, that sounds good to me. So that's what we did. And we just kept doing that. I don't know if it's exactly the right thing at this point in time. Maybe people are more used to getting super bills and figuring out on their own. I know there's services out there that provide some of that, like to outsource it, but it's just part of our system. Like you quickly mentioned earlier that I live in Arizona.
Yeah.
So like we don't even have, out of the 8 locations, none of them are in Arizona. You know, our closest location is in Denver. Like it's not even really within driving distance. So I live in Arizona. My wife is also a PT. Like I've got to have top-notch systems. I've got to rely on a team that are going to treat the clients like I would treat them. And part of that is the billing experience. And I think that that's really important piece of what I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you've clearly, got the systems in place, because without systems, you wouldn't be able to scale this or, take yourself out of it. So what are some of the most important systems or procedures or operating protocols that you've put into place that really help your business run and make it easy for you to, grow this and scale it up?
Well, really all my systems came from my team. Again, it's listening. I listen to my team. I rely on them. Like I treat them like they are right there by my side, like they are a partner of the business. And, I want them to become partners. I want them to open up their own active core affiliate location, their own satellite location. We just launched a whole online business that really is to inspire and teach our physical therapists how to open up their own online business and to create content, and we market it and distribute it to clients all around the world so that they can generate passive income. I mean, like all of the systems that we put in place, whether it's our online business or our in-person and telehealth business and whatever else we have, it's about listening to the teammates, and they'll tell you what they need, and working together, treating them like one of your own, as opposed to me being up here and they're way down here and I'm barking orders and telling them what to do and micromanaging everything. I can't do that from Arizona. I need to trust that they're going to, treat people the right way, the way that I feel is right. And obviously our values align, and the way that we hire is a very important component of the system.
Yeah.
But I don't know if one thing, we have policies and procedures, we got insurance, we got legal, we got all this stuff in place. It's like, I don't know if one's more important than the other. I think everything is essential, because you don't want to leave any stone unturned, because then you're just opening yourself up to someone like getting hurt, someone doing the wrong thing, or going against your values and your belief system, and then it's like it's all for nothing. So we work together as a great cohesive team. We've got amazing culture. We've been through a lot. I'll tell you, none of this has been easy in all the over a decade of doing this. This is about hard work. It's about sacrifices. It's about risk taking. It's about trust, and relying on people that are well educated. These are people who are, I think, here for the right reasons, and they treat people like their family. And I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better than that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so awesome. So what's the one thing that you guys are doing right now that's enabled you to grow during the pandemic, when most people are like, oh, I'll just wait for this whole thing to be over to fix my back or my knee? Or how are you able to, not just marketing, but like, what is it that's allowing you to grow right now and add 4 locations since we spoke like, 5 weeks ago or something like that?
Yeah. So we, I would say the biggest thing is listening to what the community
Mm-hmm.
needs right now. And a lot of it is online. You
Yeah.
know, you want people want answers fast. They want to start the process right away. They don't want to waste time. They people don't want to like go to different doctors right now because of COVID. Like they don't want to expose themselves. They want like a reliable source, like a resource that's going to provide them answers. They want someone to look at them from every possible angle, you know, and not just in the clinic, but they want to like it's a lifestyle. It's what are they doing at home during the pandemic, or are they going to work? What does it look like when they're driving their car, when they're walking their dog? Like the only way to do that is to provide that 360-degree approach. And so what we're doing is combining active core, which is
Mm-hmm.
our more in-person model in our telehealth business, with this whole online business that we just started creating. And that was actually started by Dr. Ed Forsman, the one who I said didn't give up on the Denver team
Right.
and made that work. I'm like, you know what? If you could be that one facility of ours that really, you know, that made it through that point in time and took the business from just you to you plus a bunch of other providers and taking over that whole in-network practice and making it all out of network. And now he came up with this whole idea of creating courses that people could take, not just people in Denver, but all around the globe. They could take these courses that he teaches on like a specific avatar or person. We call it an avatar, but to one specific population that he really enjoys treating, and providing content that's relevant for them. That's listening. That's listening to what the customer is looking for. Like I know we kind of roll our eyes sometimes when people will come in and say, "Oh, you know, is my back pain due to the mattress I'm sleeping on?" And it's like, okay, it sounds like a really basic question. Well, Ed goes really deep with this stuff. I mean, he will do tremendous research, create a whole ebook on it and throw it into his course, like a whole section on mattresses. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, I've never seen a PT go that deep into like the surface that you're sleeping on. But when you think about it, it's a third of your life is spent on a mattress. So why not spend some time researching it,
Right.
you know, and figuring out specifically what type of mattress would be good for your specific avatar, that person that you're really trying to help. And then of course other things, posture and footwear and all these things that are way beyond just, you know, providing great exercises.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's awesome. So how do you have your business set up to allow these satellite locations to open so quickly? Are are there a few of the locations like they're your employees, and then the satellite locations, or the I think there's another word you use for it.
Affiliate.
The affiliate locations, they more have like a membership or a fee to be branded with Active Core. Can you explain how that works and what those the distinctions are?
Well, they're both really similar. They're both like satellites. One
Mm-hmm.
is one that Active Core as a company owns.
Mm-hmm.
So we fund it and we take one of our providers and we put them out somewhere in the community, again, within, you know, another type of business like a Pilates studio, a yoga studio, a chiropractic office. That is something that we fund, we get set up, and the provider does it as an employee of Active Core.
Mm-hmm.
An affiliate location or an affiliate satellite means that that provider owns it. So they are independent of ActiveCore in terms of ownership. They formed an LLC or a professional corporation within their state, and they opened up their own business, their own practice, and we provide as many resources as possible to help them succeed. And then they pay a fee to us each month to, to get those resources. So instead of maybe hiring their own billing person, it's like, let's use ActiveCore's billing team. Or instead of hiring a marketing person, it's like, let's leverage what ActiveCore has done in terms of branding and connecting with the community and things like that, and go from there. So they basically form a business doing business as ActiveCore, and they're an affiliate location, which allows them access to a lot of the systems that we have in place, but they have actual ownership of it. The online business, though, that I was describing, that's actually even something totally separate from ActiveCore. Okay. I don't know if I explained that to you on our last call, but that's actually a business that we created, not under the ActiveCore umbrella, but we're going to create licensed users, like PTs around the world.
Wow.
That want to own their own, online business and generate passive income. And they get support of our team to do this, to help with video editing and production and distribution and marketing and selling, all these things that a PT typically doesn't have time for and doesn't really want to do. Like, they just focus on creating their content, feed it over to us, and then we produce it for them, and everybody wins.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the everybody wins model. It's like, negotiations, everyone needs to feel like they win or someone feels cheated. But in business, when we're doing forming a relationship or with employees, like, everyone's got to win. Like, I got to get something out of it, and you got to get something out of it. Ian, what are you getting out of this? Like, this is like a tremendous amount of work that you've put in. Like, what's your reward for all this?
My reward has, for the most part, I've kind of taken a lot of my reward, and that is coming back to the Valley of the Sun. This is where I grew up in Arizona. This is not where I started the business. We started in New Jersey. So viewers may be wondering, like, why New Jersey? Why Pennsylvania, Colorado, and Georgia? It's like, that seems a little, it's spread out and everything. But that's because my wife and I went to physical therapy school in New Jersey. She's from the East Coast. We stayed out there after we graduated and got our first jobs and got married, and then opened up our first practice right down, kind of down the street from Princeton University. And so that's where we started. But over those 20 years that I lived on the East Coast, I really wanted to come back to Arizona, where I grew up. I'm very close with my parents, my dad in particular. We owned restaurants out here growing up. We were one of the first to bring New York style pizza to the Valley. So I watched that, and I was a part of that, that whole pioneering spirit and stuff. And I knew when I became, whether it was an engineer like I originally set out to become in college, or eventually a PT, I knew it was about business. I knew that the common denominator here is business, because that's what I grew up with. So that's what I get to focus my time. I stopped treating in 2014 or 15. My wife stopped treating in 2017 when we moved here to Arizona. So, like, this is the reward, to be able to focus on my family, my health, but at the same time also be able to grow the businesses and to trust that my team, have got it. Like, they're like, I've got it, Ian. Like, I don't need to go to the locations, to be honest. I rarely go. Like, in the past, and this is not even to do with COVID, in the past year, I've only been to the Denver location, and it was because we were opening up two new satellites in the Denver area. But that's it. I haven't been to New Jersey or Georgia in a long time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But we're still growing, which is great.
That's great. Congratulations. That's really, it's not, looking at, I mean, it's not, it's a lot of hard work. It's definitely worth it. And, probably looking back, you're like, oh, like I just did X, Y, and Z and the things fell in place. Was there ever something that you did where things didn't work out the way you expected?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I can't tell you uh, how much I believed in something. I'm like, this is going to work. This is going to work. And it didn't. It's just life, you
Yeah.
know. We would call it the failing is the first attempt in learning. I mean, I can't tell you many times we did that, but with each time we learned what didn't work and kept going. I mean, again, going into the cash waters back before others, before anybody really knew what that meant, our referral sources like the
Mhm.
MDs that would refer us people, refer us patients. They were like, I don't understand. You're dropping the insurance network. I don't get it. So like everything has been uncertain. Again, that risk taker in me,
Right.
and that pioneer entrepreneurial spirit that that has driven me every
Right.
step of the way. So as much as I hate like not making it, I enjoy the process. I enjoy the wins that we have gotten along the
Mhm.
way, and you just can't give up on your dream. Like it's about perseverance, about grit. There's no easy way. I mean, you look at it today and it's like, okay, 8 cash practice locations sounds wonderful, but like we went through a lot to
Mhm.
get here. And I hope that, we'll be able to add on many more locations throughout the country over the next few years. And it has gotten easier, but but it was not easy.
Right.
Not one step along the way was easy. But so I could say the same thing about like with my kids. I mean, I've got
Mhm.
twin girls, and every stage is tough. Like,
Yeah. How old are they
every
now?
they're just turning 14 this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, my girls are 9 and 11, and they're different today than they were last week. It's nuts.
yeah, but you just keep going, right, Aaron? I
Yeah.
mean, you just like, and each stage is a lot, and but you kind of win. You feel like at some point you won that stage. You move on to the
Hmm.
next thing. It's the same thing with the business. Just
Right.
keep going, and no matter what people say, as long as you've got the right values, you got the right people around you, you're doing good for the communities that you serve, and you're growing. Because if you just stay the same course, stagnant, the competition will eat you alive. So you got
Right.
to stay at least a couple steps ahead of everyone else.
That's awesome. What's your goal with Active Core over the next, 4 to 5 years? Do you like certain number of locations, or is it just more time, or, people? Like, do you have like a plan, a goal for it?
In terms of active core, I think it's going to grow for the most part very organically.
Hmm.
I don't want to push it. It's at this point we don't need to. It's not worth it. We don't want to risk too much like what we've already established. So it's about talents. It's
Hmm.
about finding people that are very much like us. So how much that's going to grow, I don't know. I hope we can maybe double our size. Would be a nice goal in the next 5 years. To be in a few more geographies would be nice. I've connected with various DPTs around the country that are attracted to the model, and they don't really want to go alone. They
Hmm.
want to maybe do something with a team. But where I see the most growth, and really our goals are set, are more on the online business, or
Mm-hmm.
it's an online business to help other PTs grow their own online business.
Got it. Got it.
So that's, I think, where the most growth is going to see. Some of that could just because we're starting at sort of zero. And so it's
Right.
like, it's very easy to to or go from 1 to 2, double our size almost overnight. Like that's pretty easy. But it's really because listening to our clients, this is the biggest unmet need. COVID aside, like people are going online. I can't tell you how many guys are out there that just don't want to go into a PT office, into any MD office. Like they want to find answers quick. If they have a men's health issue,
right,
they want to find it right now. They want to start following a PT online. They want to start following a course, start doing something right now. Because guys are all about like, they want answers right now and they want it to be as discreet as possible. So we've got one of our PTs out in Colorado who is focused on men's health. And I think she's going to absolutely kill it with this, with this course. So that's where I think the most growth opportunity lies.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's decently underserved. Like not many people are speaking to my health. They're right. Speaking to building muscle, but not like, but not, can you talk more about that? Like what's the niche or angle, or what's the thing that people are responding to from that message or from what she's sharing?
Well, she's focused, her avatar, is a guy with, pain after sexual intercourse or erectile dysfunction or something, like a serious issue, is scared, doesn't feel comfortable talking about this with friends or with a significant other. Like these are people that really need help. And like the typical guy, they don't want to just go and schedule an appointment with a PT or with an MD. They want to find some answers on their own. So this is a great way to connect with them, and they can purchase her course that she creates all around relevant content that they're looking for, questions that they're asking Google. She's going to pop up with the content that she's providing in the form of blogs and ebooks and courses and all that stuff. Right. But on top of that, of course, they can connect with her through telehealth, some of the stuff that we do at Active Core, which is more that telehealth, or if they happen to live locally, they could come in. But yeah, men's health is a wide array of, as you know, various diagnoses and conditions that people are suffering from. She's going to focus on, 2 or 3 of those conditions and see where it goes. And we'll get some data to track, and hopefully this becomes a big success. And many other DPTs around the world want to, be a part of this.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's so great. Ian, before we wrap up, is there anything that, is there a question that I should have asked you that I didn't ask yet, or anything else you think might be important or you want to share?
The only other thing that is, I think of it as almost like the elephant in the room, in some conversations I've had over the years with various PTs, is Redcord. Like we were we were among the first group of physical therapists in the United States to bring Redcord, which is a suspension system that hangs above our treatment tables. And it's, something that really separated us early on from all the other practices out there, and something that you need a lot of one-on-one time with your clients to do it effectively, very much like manual therapy. Like it's really tough to do in a volume environment. Right. You can't really have your hands on one person and another person at the same time. So it lends itself, like Redcord and the whole neuromuscular activation, concept behind it, the science behind it, lends itself like as perfect as you can get with a one-on-one treatment model. So the method matches the model really nicely. That's the only thing that I think we sort of forgot about, to mention on today's
call. Tell us, like, Redcord is like basically it's suspension. So it's like allows you to get like zero gravity, or take your patient's body like out of gravity. Like, can you tell us a little bit about how it works and how you guys use it in your practice, and what's what about it's been so helpful for you?
Yeah, so we're following the lead of one of my teammates, Tyler Joyce. Um, Tyler is an amazing physical therapist out in our Princeton, New Jersey location, and he's been all about Redcord since like 2007. So pretty early on, again, among the first group of PTs trained by the Norwegians, which is where it comes from Norway. And the idea is to be able to offload your client or patient with the use of bungee cords and slings. And when you put them in an environment where they've got less weight to sustain, it's a game changer. It's like, they can now do things that would never be possible in a normal environment. The closest thing is like getting in the swimming pool, but we know that most PTs do not have access, to a pool. So it's nice. You've got the buoyancy of the slings and bungee cords so that they're able to exercise most of the time unilaterally, which is also key, that they're not able to use their strong side to help the weak side. So you're able to do like one-handed push-ups and pull-ups and one-legged squats and bridges and planks and all these really cool exercises, and be able to assess someone through the full myofascial chains, the whole kinetic chain and everything, in an offloaded environment with no pain. Because as soon as you take body weight, some of their body weight, you offload them a bit, kind of like the Alter G type treadmills or jumping in the swimming pool. Pain is no longer part of the environment. You can now, rehabilitate them much faster and much earlier in their course of therapy. You can test things, look at the way their body moves, and not have to use your hands to support them, support their head if you're doing manual therapy, support their leg if you're trying to, mobilize a hip or whatever. Like, you've got so much assistance from the slings and bungee cords that it just creates a really cool setting to put your clients in. I like to say it's taking everything that you do as a therapist, all the same exercises that you've been doing over the years, and it makes every single exercise and every single manual therapy technique better. Like, what system out there can enhance everything that you do, and it fits above your treatment table? So it like takes up no additional space. So when Tyler introduced it to me, years ago, I'm like, oh, this is a no-brainer. Like, not just clinically, but like, I'm always looking at the business and the marketing side of things. And I'm like, what's going to separate you as a provider more, than suspending someone from the ceiling with red ropes? Like, like the images of that and the videos of that look so different from anything else that a PT, does, that at the very least, it's separating us from our competition.
Right. That's awesome. Are you guys doing like Con Ed or training people to use Redcord, or is that through somebody different, or how's that?
That's through a third party called Redcord America. And they're a great company, and they work sort of in tandem with us. Like, when we bring on a new provider, we do a lot of the training in-house, because all of our providers are fully trained in it. So you're like immersed in the language of Redcord when you come into an active core facility. I mean, we've got so many ropes hanging from the ceiling. Actually, when I spec out a place for like a new facility, I'm usually looking up more than down. Most people are like, what's the square footage of this place? I'm like, what can we hang from the ceiling? Because that's most important to me. So, it's again, kind of a nice relationship that we have with the distributor of the equipment and the training. So we will send them for some of the training seminars that Redcord America provides around the country. But we also do some of our own training in-house, kind of a combination of the two.
Yeah, right on. That's awesome. That's great. Is there anything else you think, is there anything else about like Redcord business, or just like, how do you like scaling, what you guys are doing, scaling a cash practice, that that you think some people would like benefit from, or any other insights? Because I know you've got a lot in your head and you've got a ton of knowledge. I just want to extract as much as possible out of you in the time we have.
Well, I always have a lot of time.
Yeah.
I'm out here. I don't practice, like I said. So this is what I spend most of my time doing, is making sure that we bring on the right people into our network. That is the most important thing when it comes to scaling a business. You've got to connect with the right people. You've got to do a really good interview. Most practices that I've ever been a part of, like back in the day before I opened up my own, like I wouldn't say the interview process was that involved. And a lot of the in-network practices that I've seen over the years, that we went in and attempted to run our own out-of-network model within. I wouldn't say that the in-network interview process was that extensive. And I think we've got to step our game up as a profession. I think we need to hold each other accountable for more things, and that's essential, because I rely like 99.9% on my teammates. Even if I'm in my facility, even if I lived still in New Jersey and was part of that Princeton facility, like I'm still relying on the teammates, because you don't know what's going to happen, right? You're not there every second of the day. And even if you are, like there's parts of the facility that you just don't have eyes and ears on at all times. And, who's talking to the clients over the phone, through telehealth, like you've got to rely on those teammates. So that's by far, the most important thing about scaling a cash business, is that you bring on the right people. And a lot of that comes down to your systems of how you interview, how you train them, make sure that they understand the processes as well as you do.
Yeah. Wow. That's
takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. That's amazing. So, and absolutely, I agree. So Ian, thank you so much for being here. If someone wants to get in touch with you, check out about what's going on with Active Core, or connect, what's the best place for them to do that?
Yeah, just go on activecore.com. You can, of course, find us on the various social media outlets, and just connect. We're a small team. I think even though we have quite a few locations, keep in mind they're small. A lot of them are just one provider satellites. Mm-hmm. So like all my teammates know me really well. So if you call, either the 800 number on the website or any of the locations and just say, hey, can I get in touch with Ian? They'll connect you with me. Like I'm always available. I'm like, hey, yeah, just text me. Just, let's jump on a call, because this is what I do. It's all about networking and we're a people business. So go on activecore.com, reach out to any of our locations, and they'll put you in touch with me.
Perfect. That's awesome. Well, Ian, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast again, for the second time for this one episode. So I appreciate your time. I value it, and I value your experience and your wisdom that you shared today. So thank you so much. If you guys are at all interested in what Ian's doing, I guarantee you're going to find some inspiration from him. I mean, he's scaled a cash-based practice, and he's doing some incredible things. So go check him out, and be sure that you shout us out on social media, and tell your friends about this episode and what you've got from it. And we'll be catching you on the next episode. So thanks again.